Rio Hondo Prep football is one of the best kept secrets in all of Southern California. As one of the smallest enrollments year in and year out, the Cares have won 14 CIF championships and have been one of the most successful programs throughout their history. Welcome to A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep football. And now, bringing you the latest news and content from his alma mater, a CIF champion in 2001. From the class of 2003, here's your host, Matt Ursima.
What is up, Rio Hondo Prep football fans? Good morning. Happy Sunday to everyone out there. It is another Victory Sunday here on the Charge to Keep podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. It seems like a long time ago, Rio Hondo Prep played on Thursday night against those Savanna Rebels down in Orange County at Glover Stadium. But we're going to recap all the action today. The Cares victorious again, 53-20. Very similar score to their week 3 matchup there at Boron with the amount of points and everything. But all in all, another great performance from Rio Hondo Prep. Another road win, 3 in a row now. Their travels have taken them from Boron to Pasadena to Anaheim there in that stretch. And so I think they're ready to come home for a nice home game, home cooking. And you know what? Homecoming this Friday against the Glendale Nitros. Great name. Love great unique team mascot names. So Glendale coming into town. I'm going to ask Coach Carson here about all of the all the sights and sounds we can expect for homecoming. I usually know there's good food there. I remember back in the day, man, the homecoming game used to be that Santa Maria barbecue right there on field 1, the big smoker, and just right there on the visiting side. And hey, here's $10 a plate or something. And oh, it's just the best. The smells when you're the JVs playing, you smell that barbecue going, just great stuff. So can't wait for the homecoming game this Friday against Glendale, as Rio will finally get to be back in black, back in those black jerseys, black pants. Well, we'll see if they're in that same combo. We'll talk to Coach Carson again about that as well. So a great game from Thursday night. There was some plenty of things that need to be worked on. Armando Carbajal really stole the show quite again. He was even better than his week 3 performance at Boron. Armando with 2 touchdown runs, 3 touchdown passes, and to top it all up, a 70-yard interception return for a touchdown as well. So got in the end zone 3 times himself, also contributed with 3 touchdown passes. I mean, this guy's just an all-star, man, just an all-around great kid and a great team leader. His development has been incredible the past couple years, being a sophomore last year, being on that, kind of working a lot of wide receiver stuff, and then to come in and play the quarterback position, the position he was born to play, and then contribute in other ways as well on defense and special teams. He's really turned into quite the player. And I want to give him some real props because, he was obviously the guy to talk to after the game. I tried to talk to a player, after each game, and we've already had him on our Sunday episodes here, trying to get different guys on there as well. So the fans can learn a little bit about these guys. Armando was, should have been the guy I talked to, right? 6 touchdowns basically in another great win. But I talked to someone else. I talked to his freshman center, Elijah Gavia, who Elijah actually walked by me and said, "Hey, are you going to talk to Armando again? He had an incredible game." And I said, "No, man, you know what? I want to talk to you." And he was like, "Oh, really?" And so why I'm saying this is because I posted the video, Elijah, getting some mic time there, and he was excited. It was a physical game, so I wanted to kind of get someone who was in the middle of it all, which Elijah was. He had the dirtiest uniform, hands down, which is always a guy I want to talk to after a game. Those white unis get extra dirty on grass, so he was working hard. But Armando commented something on Instagram, like just high praise for Elijah. And I thought that was incredible leadership of Armando, definite huge character on his part to be a guy that, hey, he basically scored 6 touchdowns, but it wasn't about him. He was happy to see a freshman teammate getting a little bit of the attention and such. And so I thought it was incredible. It just really sums up to me the type of guy that Armando Carbajal is. And I also want to say thank you to his family on Thursday night. I was walking to my car. This park, Glover Stadium, was not in the best of areas. That's all we'll say. When you're in the stadium and the lights are on, it was all right. But parking and the surrounding area, it's at a park there, it wasn't a great area for a lot of reasons. And So anyway, I was walking down the street. They pulled up and they saw me. They're like, "Do you need a ride?" The Carbajal family. I said, "No, I'm good. My car's right here." I turned the corner, and let's just say it was a rather not a good situation. I was definitely would have been outnumbered, and there was some negative elements. We'll say it looked like drugs or something going. I don't know. I tried to keep moving, but the Carbajal family, God bless them, they saw me take the turn. They saw who, kind of what was going on there, and they turned with me and followed me in their van and said, "Hey, we'll just follow you to your car." I said, "You know what? Thank you. Great team players, the Carbajal family. They got my back. We all got each other's back here of the Rio Hondo Prep football team. It's just one big happy family, and so thank you to them. Nothing happened, but yeah, sometimes it's good to kind of be aware of your surroundings and look around and be like, hey, let's just make sure nothing happens. So thank you to the Carbajal family and to Armando for not only a great football game, but continuing to be a great leader. There's a reason he's a captain of this team, him and, 3 other guys, Anthony, Ryan, and Colby, and it shows. So it's just stuff like that. And again, I try to talk to guys that aren't necessarily the MVP of the game or something, but I try to talk to guys that have good game or have a meaningful week, or just are guys that I like their style of play. And I want to bring on more guys and just to get to know guys. And so you guys can learn about them too. And we might have some repeat guys, especially on just the brief 1-minute interviews I do after the game on Instagram and such. But that's just give you guys a little bit of insight here for the Charge to Keep podcast, what we're doing. It is almost time for Coach Carson. Today on the show, we're going to be joined by new President Zain Fruitwala, who was inaugurated last Sunday, 1 week ago today. We're going to talk to him about his new administration and how things are going as the president of the Rio Hondo Prep Academy, the 120th president to be specific. And so can't wait to hear from him. Zane's a senior. He's we talked about last week, long snapper on this team. He's stepped up and done well at that position. So we're going to talk to Zane about his experience with the senior class, talk to us about those guys, talk to us about being the president, maybe his speech a little bit. And then finally, as far as our alumni section goes, I need like a title for that segment, like remember when, or back in the day or something. But anyway, we're going to be joined by class of 2000, Steve Aman, 2-time CIF champ, played in a baseball CIF championship game as well. Steve joins us from Eugene, Oregon. Talked with him a few days ago. So I get to kind of piece all these things together, usually Sundays with the player and coach. I'm recording on Sunday, and with the alumni, we try to fit that in whenever. So sometimes it's a few days old, but it still works. We get to hear from the alumni, and we're going to hear from more alumni on our pregame show. Don't forget, this Thursday night at 7:00. If you don't want to do it that late, you can listen to it obviously Friday morning, but a pregame show with a member of the alumni or a special guest of some kind, and just kind of my thoughts on the upcoming game. Just a quick 30, maybe 45-minute episode, an hour at the absolute most, but probably under an hour for the pregame shows, week in and week out. Thursday pregame show or 24 hours before kickoff, and the fun Sunday episodes that we've been doing here. So let's not burn any more time. We'll talk to Coach Carson about the game and bring on Mr. President Zain Furwala, as well as 2000 alumnus Steve Aman, who's joining us from up in Eugene, Oregon, up there somewhere. And can't wait for you guys to hear my conversation with him. So let's get right to it, guys. Happy Victory Sunday. We're halfway through the season. Well, 5 games in, 4 to go, plus a bye week after this week 6 game. I think the care's definitely needed after a rather bruising football game on this Thursday night between the Savanna Rebels and the Rio Hondo Prep Cares. Let's bring on Coach Carson to take us back to recap all of the action from Thursday night in Orange County. With the sound. All right. Sunday morning with Coach Carson. Love hearing the Eye of the Tiger music, because that means we have the Eye of the Tiger coming on the program. Coach Carson, the former Tiger coach. How's it going this Sunday morning, Mark?
Great week. Looking forward to homecoming this week, and planning back at Rio, back at Care Park.
Yeah, man, for sure. Back in black, get the black jerseys back on. And anything special going on, homecoming related? They still do the barbecue. What's on the menu, man?
Okay, so no barbecue, but the Tardino family, which is a Rio family, have two sons at Rio, one a freshman. They're doing pulled pork sandwiches, I think bratwurst and nachos. So yeah, get there early, enjoy some food, and hopefully watch us win.
Yeah, man, for sure. Hey, get that. I love that. Well, hey, we'll be there at noon. We'll get ready to rock and roll, man. I remember the old days. Wasn't it cool always having there on field one, the Santa Maria barbecue during the JV game, and just all the people showing up, man. Little traditions like that were always cool to be a part of.
Back then that Santa Maria barbecue, they'd start at like noon. Getting the fire hot and start grilling that meat. It always smelled good walking around campus. Yeah, that was great.
Love the little traditions of Rio, and something you're gonna do this Friday. You were telling me is a little different uniform combo, maybe paying tribute to those of the past.
Yeah, kind of an old school look. We're not going too far back with the black and white pants, black front, white back. Those aren't available to get anywhere anymore. But we're gonna do white bottoms and then do the NFL style long socks up to the knees, which a lot of Rio teams used to wear as well. So rather than the college look, which we've kind of done recently with calf high socks, we're going all the way, and it'll be black, white. So I think it'll look kind of cool, kind of retro.
Yeah. Just with more alumni in the audience, maybe a little tribute to the people coming home. That's awesome. But yeah, I love the all black. And I actually do really like the all white with the black helmet. I think some people are like, well, wear white and black and combo, but I don't know. I like the combos you got going, but I'm looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. And it's fun to have options, so we have, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun look. And first time we've had this look since probably, mid 2000s.
Good stuff. Well, Mark, before we get to the game recap, there was a rather unfortunate incident locally here in high school football. Two very good football programs, two private schools in the area. Bishop Aman and Damien played. Bishop Aman kind of pulled away from that one, but it was after the game, unfortunately, where there was kind of a scuffle. Fred Robledo took some video and made some comments just about sportsmanship. And for me, it was rather unfortunate to see schools. It wasn't an all-out brawl or anything, but just to kind of see that. I mean, what are your thoughts? I know Rio Hondo takes great pride in sportsmanship and trying to carry themselves the Rio way. Did you have any comments?
I don't know any of those guys personally, Bechtel or Haggerty. Seem like they run great programs and obviously play great football. So nothing but respect for them. Who knows the little back and forth between schools that could go on. You would like to think that two of the top programs in our area would have respect for each other, but stuff happens. I'm guessing it's not as big of a deal as it's being made out to be, but the handshake line is always crazy for me because I want to shake hands with all the players. And a lot of times the coaches will just go and meet at midfield and you get out of line to shake their hands. But I think the players deserve the tip of the hat and the sign of respect as well. And so I always, I'm always torn. Do I get out? Do I get out? What do I do? And so I wish we could go back to the days where we all just shook the players' hands and the coaches at the end. But that's a sidebar. Yeah, as far as that incident with Almond and Damien, never like seeing that, but I'm sure those schools and programs will figure it out and resolve it. And not sure they'll be playing each other though down the road. I don't know.
Probably not. As being an official as long as I was, I knew that it only took one little thing, one guy saying one thing or something from, last year that somebody did. And it's just like trying to manage all that was impossible at times. So I'm sure it'll get cleaned up, but I hate seeing that stuff. And I know Robledo was reporting it well and it's all talked about. But anyway, kind of piggybacking off of that, I've been talking to some alumni, Mark, who, have comments on the games and things kind of behind the scenes. And it got me thinking about playing football the Rio way. There is an identity, a way in which Rio Hondo football players are supposed to play the game and carry themselves. And it's carried on over the decades. And so you got alumni. We talked a little bit last week about, over celebrating and stuff. But if you could, as the head coach in 2022, what would you say the Rio way is of playing football?
I think it starts with a physical brand of football. being hard-nosed, being tough, and tough not only physically but mentally, and that includes handling yourself with discipline. So yeah, not a lot of penalties, which is something we're working on. The showboating stuff, yeah, that should be kept to a minimum, right? I don't think that's what we want to do. We never want to show up an opponent. That being said, we do want kids to play with energy and enthusiasm, so getting excited is part of the game. But being physical, being tough, being disciplined, and being smart, just playing smart football, being prepared for every situation and having our guys prepared, being a step ahead of the competition in our preparation. Doesn't always happen, but that's the goal. And then philosophically, it's all about the ball, taking care of the ball. Every possession counts on offense, and then going and getting it on defense, creating turnovers and havoc on D.
If you were to tell one of your players, senior, freshman, whoever, if you were to tell them, hey, we're Rio Hondo, we don't do that, or hey, that's not the Rio Hondo way, would they understand what you meant by that? Is that kind of stuff preached throughout the week, throughout the year, of just about the style and the way, the standard that Rio is supposed to carry themselves?
Yeah, we had to correct, we heard in a game not too recently, and this year, some guy said, someone else, our opponent made a good play, and or might have scored or something, and then our guy yelled scoreboard or something like that, and it's just like, hey, you know what? The game has nothing to do with the scoreboard. It's how well we're playing. That's what we should be focused on, right? Don't yell scoreboard to the other team. Okay, let's focus on how well we're playing, right? And the game's going to have its ebb and flows, right? And so you can't get caught up in that stuff. Focus on playing well and doing what we should do. And then, the score more often than not takes care of itself.
Well said. Yeah.
That's one instance. Yeah, just as an example.
No, I think as the program grows here, that it is important to kind of, honor the past with stuff like that. And just to, this program is different. And I hope people are starting to see that the Rio Hondo brand, the Rio Hondo tradition and success, it's how it is for a reason. Great athletes, of course, great coaches, but just a style and a way that this game is played.
Yeah, exactly. And we think people like watching us. They have an emotional connection because of our style and how we play, and know that our guys are always going to come out and hit and play hard, execute, play with energy, and but at the same time being a respectful team and a team that the fans and parents can be proud of.
One final thing before we get to the recap, the NFHS network, Mark, there's some technical issues at times with the internet and the broadcast, but I got to tell you, I've watched a few different broadcasts. I think what Clark and Kyle are doing, Chris Kirby, Mr. Guerrero, Mr. Bray, the whole staff, they let me tag along. It is hands down the best broadcast I've seen. I was watching the Charter Oak West Covina game on Friday night, and they didn't have announcers. They had the scoreboard with the clock. It was all zeros all game, no replays. I mean, I want fans to really appreciate what the Rio Hondo broadcast is on Friday nights on the NFHS network. It's first class.
Yeah, it's like comparing a Super Bowl broadcast to a Pop Warner broadcast. It's not even ours compared to everyone else, and those guys do a great job. I know they take it seriously, but are having fun doing it. And I think that kind of epitomizes RHP football in a nutshell, right? Take it seriously, but we're having fun too. And the level of professionalism that they're doing, and believe me, everybody, they're not getting paid. No one here is getting paid, but the level of professionalism is really cool. And yeah, some people will just have an automated camera at their stadium, and they click that on and they call that a NFHS broadcast. Where ours is a full on broadcast team, and it's fun. Yeah, it's really fun, and I'm glad our those guys are doing it, and very appreciative. And I think our fans who can't make it to games really appreciate it.
Well, we're going to be talking to a guy today, Steve Aman from the class of 2000, joining us from up in Oregon. He's definitely proud of the broadcast that's going on. And yeah, I got to tell you, I think I texted Clark, giving him props and everything. And I said, caring is contagious, caring with a K, of course. And I don't know. That's what came out. And I think that's what really fits for this program. Caring is contagious, no matter if it's a football team, the broadcast team, the cheerleaders, whoever. Caring is contagious.
Yeah, doing things the right way. It's if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right.
Well said. Well, let's talk about your team from Thursday night. I mean, you can't write the story of this game without your junior quarterback, Armando Carbajal. Three touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs, and he hadn't gotten in the end zone yet on defense, to my knowledge. So he threw in a 70-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Pick 6, and he had a punt return TD called back. So he had responsible 6. He could have had 7. Amazing night for Armando, who's really morphing into a great leader on the field, off the field, and so happy for him. And it's a weapon. His speed is a weapon. It's something that we've never really had at Rio at that position. So it makes it fun, and very dynamic player, one of our best defensive players as well. So he's on the field. He's going to make plays. Really exciting to watch.
Man, yeah, he's so explosive, and he's just, similar to Ryan. He's just a great guy. I mean, Mark, I could have easily talked to him after the game. He had 6 touchdowns. Well, why wouldn't you talk to this guy, right? But I talked to your freshman center, Elijah Gavia, who had the dirtiest uniform. So I like talking to guys like that. He was in the middle of it all, and he came over to me and was chatting with me, and it was Armando who commented on Instagram how happy he was for Elijah. You're going to be great. Just total encouragement from a dude that just scored 6 touchdowns, and he could, not many kids that young would have that attitude. They'd be like, why didn't you talk to me? So just tremendous leadership.
Yeah. Very humble guy. And Elijah, I thought, did a great job on that interview as well. For a freshman to go play in the middle of the action like that it's not easy to do. And he's holding up well.
Yeah, he was fun to, I noticed, because the game had ended. I talked, it was probably 20 minutes after the game had ended, and my man was still in his pads. He still had his shoulder pads on for the interview. And I'm like, you know what? After a sword fight, yeah, you keep your sword out. You don't sheath that thing. He was ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a baller. He's going to be a great player, and exciting. And he played a lot on defense too. So to be in the middle of the action on both sides of the ball, your body takes a toll, man, and you're getting hit every play. So he did a great job for Thursday night, as he has all season.
Yeah. And he's got a little swag to him, Mark. He's got a little, that like metallic pacifier mouthpiece that he got that really, I think, sums up his persona and his attitude out there.
Yeah, he is. He's you don't want to mess with Elijah. And as he gets older, it's going to be even more so, because he's a tough dude.
Yeah, definitely. He loves his quarterback. He loves the senior class. He's a great football player, and he's just getting started. He's a freshman center. I mean, I can't even imagine. Anyway, it's crazy what he's doing.
Play out on the fringes as a freshman, but to be right in the middle like that is special.
Oh yeah, big time. I'm just so excited. He came up to me. He was like, "Hey, you going to talk to Armando again? Because he had such a good game." I said, "I want to talk to you, man." He goes, "Oh, okay." So just a great dude.
Yeah, that's cool. I really enjoyed the venue though, Thursday night too. For those who didn't go down there, just very old school setup, but natural grass, which they well maintained, good fast track, and then the bleachers on both sides were very near the field. So it's not like most high school stadiums where you have a track separating you and you feel like you're watching the game. Might as well be watching it on TV. Okay, you were right. And their band was really good. And I thought it was a good setup. I don't know how much the fans liked it, but I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I love great environments, especially when you get there. I remember getting to games early as a referee at like 5:30 or so, and you hear the band warming up. You're just like, okay, here we go. Let's get this thing going. And so yeah, great venue, Glover Stadium. Little old, a little scary when the lights go off. I gave props to him already, but the Carbajal family had my back as I walked in my car through rather scary elements, we'll say. And so big thanks to them.
Yeah, Anaheim isn't all just Disneyland and that kind of neighborhood. Anaheim has its not so great parts as well, and the stadium was in that part of town, I'm afraid. But yeah, glad you got to your car safe.
Yeah, get home safe, absolutely. You know who I think it seems to me is having a really fun time playing Rio. A lot of the kids are, but a guy who's really stood out to me is just having a great time is Alex Mustaine, your backup quarterback. He's playing tight end. He's playing defense. He had a 65-yard touchdown catch on Thursday night. A great play call right up the middle, right down the seam. He just looks like he's new to the program. He looks like he's soaking it all in and really having a great time.
Soaking it all, loving it. You didn't mention, the kicking aspect of his game.
Oh.
It's been huge. I think he's among state leaders in touchbacks, and doing a great job there. And he's kind of our long distance field goal guy. So he's soaking in, having fun. And that goes, back to, I remember Mr. Drain, one of our championship runs in the mid 2000s or early 2000s. And guys were kind of tense and all nervous before a game. I think it was a quarterfinal or semifinal game. And he just reminded them, guys, go have fun, And that's what, the practices are hard. Preparing, weight room is hard. Okay, but the games are supposed to be fun, man. And so you got to enjoy it. And it's fun. It's just really cool to see a kid like that who can't keep the smile off his face, and just having a great time playing and doing it all. And Alex has been a great fit to our program. And, we love having Alex. You're gonna have to have him on pretty soon too.
I can't wait. He's just, you walk by him, he's smiling. He even says, "Hey, how are you?" Like, I'm like, "I'm good, man." Like, he's just his attitude is contagious,
Yeah.
And he's a heck of a football player. I mean, when he transferred over from La Crescenta, I don't know if he had any plans of playing tight end or being a kicker, but at Rio Hondo, hey, we'll find you a spot and fit in.
Yep. And he's had a great attitude about that as well. So it's been fun to see, and he can sling it. So he's a weapon there, QB, if we needed to.
He's got it. He's got an arm. I thought his best throw, unfortunately, of the night, it was dropped by your sure-handed man, Calogero. He threw a skinny post, and Calogero dropped it. But my man came back and made one of the best catches of the year later. So props to Calogero.
Yeah, Calogero never drops anything, so that was a shocker. But I think it got on him a little quick. I just kind of zipped it in there. But then, he made a great catch for a touchdown at the is that in the third quarter? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a strike from out. He's got such zip on it. But and then it was funny seeing him throw the ball to Armando. Like, you guys are doing it all. I love the versatility you guys have. What would you say, kind of piggyback off of the Alex transferring thing? Transfers are now a thing in high school football. We didn't see much of it hardly ever at Rio, but with a guy like Alex coming over, I mean, what are your comments on transfers and maybe kids who are looking for a new school to maybe consider Rio Hondo Prep?
Yeah, we're going to be very selective in that realm, and for multiple reasons. You gotta have the academics lined up. You gotta be good. So you gotta be a good student. You gotta be a good fit for our campus and how we do things. And you gotta want to come along there. And then you got to, of course, be a good you don't have to be a good football player, but you're going to play football if you come to Rio. So hopefully you're a football player. So we're open to it, but we're never going to go all in. And you won't see a roster overhaul where we have 15 new guys 1 year. But if there's a couple kids who are a good fit, we will look at it. And I think the administration's opened up a little more to that than maybe in the past. So, if you think you're a good fit at Rio, I would say come check us out and see.
Yeah, I mean, look at someone like Alex has really, excelled. And again, it's all about fit. And there's still a certain standard at RHP and everything, but it's still, what would you say? It's an elite group, right? It's an elite club to come over to Rio Hondo.
Yeah, if you're transferring here, I think in my 20 years, we've probably had 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a common thing, but if it's a good fit in all those areas I talked about, then we'll look at it and make it happen. We have another kid who's eligible this week, Matthew Brewer, who had to sit out, but he gets to play this week. It's a transfer from Maranatha, so that'll be fun to see him on the field, and he's fired up too.
Okay, very cool. New addition to the team. Yeah, that week 5, week 6, everyone gets to bring in their players. Rio Hondo always plays by the rules, very to a T with all that stuff. So that's always good.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm gonna pull up some plays here in a minute, but while I do, we're having President Zain Fruitwala on the show today, the 120th president for the Rio Hondo Academy. What are your thoughts on him playing one of the most important positions on the field in long snapper for you, and being the new president of the academy?
Yeah, couldn't be happier for Zane. One of our best students at the school, great leader on campus, and just a great guy. And he's not built to play football, never played football until middle school at Rio Hondo, but wanted to contribute. And he's not a long snapper just as a side job. He takes it very seriously, and you see that when he snaps, it's got some zip on it. Usually it's right on target, and he's handling PAT, field goals, and punt. And so it's cool to see him just say, hey, I want to find a way to contribute. And he does that. And so that just speaks well, I think, to his character. He didn't have to play football. As a senior, you can just kind of ride off into the sunset. But he's playing, contributing, great team guy, great team leader. And happy for him to be president too. Well deserved. So he's a great future ahead of him, and that's we're very excited for that.
Being president to me speaks to the respect his peers have for him. That speaks volumes, really.
Yeah, because it's coaches or teachers don't pick the president; it's the kids who pick it. So got a lot of respect around campus, and I have to ask him about his when his family hosts team dinners too. Make sure you ask him about that, because those are some of the best. And you'll have Indian food, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Good stuff. I'll definitely talk to him about that. Mark, let's look at some plays from Thursday night. I mean, where do we start? There's just so many. We'll probably go through the touchdowns if you like. But again, Armando running the football. What's that, Mark?
Yeah, there were a lot of them.
So here we go. This opened the game for you guys. Nate Curtis interception on the opening drive, and then 2 plays later, you're in the end zone again. Kind of this new shotgun gun run formation you guys are trying out.
Just a straight blast play, but just from a different formation. So you get Nate, our Z receiver, coming over, and then Ryan lead blocking, someone trapping there, and then it creates a big hole for
Noah.
Who
Noah knows how to get real skinny real quick in between these blocks, man.
Yeah, he's already really good, and for a freshman who can read blocks that well. But I thought this was a great way to kind of establish early on that, hey, we're going to run the ball, and you're going to have to handle us running the ball, and that which opens up the passing game, our play action passing game. But this is so unique. Another wrinkle.
I'm sorry, Mark. This is so unique in that you have Ryan as a back in a pistol set here behind the quarterback, but he's behind Noah, but then he ends up being the lead blocker alongside a Nate. Kind of an interesting design here to have your lead blocker behind. And
then you see pulling through. And it just puts a lot of bodies at the point of attack. And sometimes guys pull through and there's no one there to hit because we already took them all, take care of them all. And Nate's kicking out. He's a kick out block. And then it's up just to the running back to find the crease. Hill. Yep. Make his one cut that we allow. You get one championship cut, and then you got to go. So here he goes. Puts his foot in the ground, makes his cut, go.
And this is a really good block by your split end, Alex Mustaine. He puts hands on the guy. He starts to kind of move away, doesn't hold it. It would be easy to hold here, but this block is also important because I think that corner would have made the tackle.
Yeah, it would have been downfield, but it keeps it from being a 8-yard gain into a touchdown. That's the difference.
And people ask me all the time about holding. He's locked in. I think the key to looking at a hold of an offensive player is the defender's feet. If the defender loses his feet, like meaning he doesn't go where he wants to go, this corner can still move the direction he wants to go. So there's no really restriction by Alex. He's pushing, corner's still moving his feet. It's when you get a tug where I think it becomes a foul.
Right. Yeah, that was well done.
Anyway, we'll move on to touchdown from McCullough just doing his thing. This was first guy I felt so bad for trying to make a tackle.
Yeah, and Mrs. Coulter had a great picture of this, which was really cool to see too. So yeah, this is that play action that's set up off the run and just gets Ryan in space, and then Ryan does the rest, stiff arm and outrunning guys for the big fella, which is good to see.
My man's got some speed.
Yeah.
So you guys do this a lot where you flood one side with 3 receivers. You got Nate, Anthony, and Ryan kind of in the same spot, 3 different
it gives the
there.
QB option kind of 3 different levels, and it's very hard to defend. And our QB just has an option. Throw it to one of them is going to be open, and hit one of them. So that's like our classic keep play.
Well, and then again, back to Mustaine's downfield, look at he's having a great time. Mustaine's downfield making huge blocks again.
Right.
Great blocks from Nate and Anthony here too. Don't blow this guy up, Anthony. Just a little. That's good. Don't.
Got to resist the temptation to get on the highlight film with a big block, because that's something that, for good reason, is more regulated in the game today. So past RHP teams may wonder, we're not blowing guys up on punt returns or open field plays. It's for good reason. It's a play that they've cracked down on to eliminate unnecessary injuries. So yeah, we tell our guys, man, you got to be smart in those open field blocks and just get them enough to keep our play alive. You don't need to kill the guy.
Keep your hands away, just kind of get in the way when you're in the open field. And we're going to look at the interception return where we see a few great airplane blocks, as you like to call it. But I will say again, these guys got to understand from an officiating standpoint, especially on a sudden change play where, punt return, interception return, everyone's eyes are moving. And when you're in the open field, if you just turn and latch onto a guy and then he takes you to the ground, it's not what happens. It's what it looks like happens. So you got a 50-year-old official who sees it. Oh, wait, yeah, he tackled him. That may not be what happened, but that's just what you got to, you got to take into account.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you just got to, sometimes it's the right thing just to put your hands up and run away. Just like, dude, I didn't do anything.
Get in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Another design run for Armando here. And again, Randy does a great job getting our bodies at the point of attack and trying to outnumber the opposition at the point of attack. And then Armando does the rest just with his speed.
So this is a bunch left. So the difference between this and maybe a trips is just that it's a little tighter to the tackle.
Yeah, that tells our guys, they're just little tighter to the tackle, not on the numbers like they might be in a trips formation, real tight. To give us blocking angles, and they got to work it out amongst themselves on who's blocking who, and they'll have little code words to figure that out. And then Armando does the rest.
Just total speed. And you know what's better than blocking one guy, Mark, is blocking 2 guys. Watch my man, Nate Curtis here. Let me get this guy. Let's get rid of you. And then who else can I get? Oh, let's go get you too.
Yep. And that's just, epitomizes RHP football. They're making a smart play. And Nate's another great young player for us, just a sophomore, but unselfish, right? And that's what it takes to win.
Yeah, definitely. Alex again over here. Anthony, we can't say enough about these guys. I feel like I'm repeating myself all these plays, Mark, but it's worth noting.
Yep. And it's, when it's blocked well like that and schemed up well, it's hard to stop. So
we're going to look at an instant replay here. Oh no, I'm just kidding. It's a different touchdown for Armando, this time right down Broadway. But this play was really interesting. Again, back to your, what is this, zone read, kind of a little motion here.
Mm-hmm. And just a blast, blast is just telling our guys how to block it. And Armando finds that crease, body on body here. Great blocking up front, all the big men up front. Ivan, Marco, Elijah, who you've talked about, Josh, Colby. They just do a great job getting body on body. Noah with the kick out, and then gives Armando enough of a seam, and they had no safety in the hole, so there was no once he got through, man.
Runs right by him. I do got to be a little critical, of course, Mark. You know how I am here. I got to be honest and open. I think my man Colby Rivera. I think he gets away with a hold. Colby Johnson. I think he gets away with a hold here. He's downfield. block there, a little grab, and then little takedown.
Yeah. It started. Yeah, but again, like you said, it started with them taking him down, and he's got to know, like, hey, you got to avoid that, man. You can't let him get into you like that, because then he grabbed to either retaliate or just get a proper landing. But you see the guy grab him, and then he kind of But yeah, an official catches out of the corner of the eye. That's gonna be a flag all day.
I think right at the point of attack, I think, not too often you're going to call that a defensive hold. So just be aware there. Hey, see, folks, sometimes the Cares get away with something here on a long touchdown.
Hey, you know what? Yeah.
Who was that? Was that Anthony? Who has the big block here, kind of along the left hash mark, knocks a guy down? Let's see.
Yeah, that was Anthony.
No. 54.
No. That was Marco.
Marco Chan. Look at this, man. Left tackle, right guard. Engage, push, and then get off me.
Yeah, our line's doing a great job. It's kind of a line where we had to replace all but one guy, and Coach Dave Drain has done an awesome job, really piecing a line together out of guys who had never played together, very young, like we said. But he does a great job, and we try to get sled work in for those guys once a week on our big sled, and they're really getting synced up. So it's fun to see them work, and they love that blast blocking. Those are their favorite play calls when they hear that.
Blast, just go forward. Let's go. Now here's the big interception return for Armando. We're going to point out some key blocks here because, again, there's opportunity to blow guys up, but I think Ivan to catch and Noah Pinanere with excellent examples of what you coach all summer. Airplane blocks, get in the way, which I'll let you comment on. Anyway, this was a huge play, Mark, because hey, potentially we're going to make this a one-score game before half.
Right. They were driving in. And the play before, I think they had completed one that got them to that point. Yeah, trying to score at the end of the half. And so I just said right before this, hey, Armando, next time they do that, pick it. And lo and behold, he does. Armando being Armando. But yeah, you see the great blocks, just being smart with Noah at the very end there. And Armando really doing the rest on his own.
I think it's Ivan to catch. He comes in here about the 50-yard line and does a backwards airplane block. He cuts the defender off right here to the right of your screen. He's coming in. He cuts this defender off. Watch him. Airplane, hands out, just screen him off.
Yep. And yeah, where you'll see a lot of kids, they'll go and they'll just hit the guy and with a pushing motion, or hit him with their shoulder and the guy falls down face first from behind. That's going to be a flag, right? And so where you can be just as effective, to do how we teach it, just an airplane block, stick your arm out there, and that's all you need to do is slow them down. You don't need to make a big hit on that. So it's just being a smart football player.
It helps so much, Mark, when you work on something all summer, all spring, and then the guys actually do it. I mean,
that makes you feel good. Like, hey, they are listening sometimes. Yeah, so makes you feel good. I thought Tyler Dang had pretty good coverage on that downfield as well, which had they thrown further, it would have been incomplete. Didn't quite get his head around quick enough, but Tyler, another freshman, great speed, and he plays this pretty well.
Yeah, you cover 3 here.
Yep.
Cover.
Yeah, we're in cover 3. He's
going with him. Mark, what do you teach your defensive backs? Because I'm seeing a lot of guys kind of chase mode and they throw their hands up. Is kind of the philosophy maybe when the receiver puts his hands, your hands type of a thing, like, or at least to turn and look when
we do not teach hands up. The only thing we teach in a situation, if you're beat, we say go to the hands, like go to their hands, and just if you time it wrong, get a flag, you get a flag. But we want to be in phase, which means your forearm is touching his hip, and you're running with him, step for step. But if you get out of phase, we teach them you sprint, and then you're looking for his eyes to tell you the ball's coming, and his hands to tell you the ball's coming. And then if you see the V of his neck, that tells you it's a short throw. So we teach eyes, hands, V of neck is kind of the verbiage we use. And yeah, so he should not have his hand up here. His left arm is in great position. That's what we call in phase. But something must have told him the ball was coming, because the eyes, he's looking in the offensive player's eyes. His eyes got big. And so we say, look at their eyes first. They'll tell you the ball's coming. But I think had it been a better throw, I think he would have been right there to knock it down. But we want them, if you're in phase, that means your forearm that gets against his hip, then you could turn around and catch it yourself. And that's the idea.
You know who I thought had a quiet, good game as well was the other Curtis brother, Josh Curtis. Are they brothers, Mark?
Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah, twin brothers. And Josh is
here's Josh up here.
Carries on the tradition of tall, lanky RHP corners. You know, Bill Ritter sent a question last week. He might have started that, you know. Our basketball athletes, Josh is more of a basketball player than anything. That's probably his favorite sport. But I love those tall, rangy corners who have good ball skills and are athletic. And so he's the guy's improving a lot. He's getting better.
He broke up a few passes. He was right there. And if you look right here, kind of that top of your screen, kind of that in phase, out of phase stuff you're talking about. I mean, he plays his side of the field really well here too.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Now, twin brothers, do you ever mix them up, or you just go by their jersey number? How identical are they?
They aren't identical, so that helps. Okay. Goodness.
That'd be funny. Nate, I mean, Josh, I mean, which one are you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Speaking of that Nate Curtis brother, Mark, 3rd and 1 play. This. I want to give Nate credit, but this is, I might have been able to run through this hole here. This is a 3rd and 1. They're loaded up in the box. And I don't know how you guys run between the tackle here, but you do. And then Nate's off to the races.
Well, again, you don't have to block everybody. They're bringing the house. And we tell our guys, we just got to get a few blocks right, guys. And then there's going to be a big seam. And great for Nate to get that run and showing some real speed here to break that long one. But that's the risk you run defensively, right? If you're going to send the house and get fits in every gap and guys on the edge, if you get creased there, there's no one there second level to make a play. And so, yeah, that was fun. You go 3rd and 1, just get the first, and all of a sudden he's running down the sideline untouched, and it looks good. Yeah. Great blocking. Off to the race.
Downfield. Yeah. I mean, Tyler Dang, we got a freshman flanker here. We got a freshman fullback in Noah Pinaneri, and then a sophomore tailback or tiger in Nate Curtis on this play. Yep. And just kick out. Yeah, you don't get everybody, but you get the important guys.
Yeah. Yep. You can't. That's the thing that's funny about our scheme. Like, we don't try to block everybody. You know, you don't have to when you think about it, right? And so we try to block the guys at the point of attack and where we're going. So that's the priority anyway. But I think it's different. It's just another thing that makes us different. Again, we gotta do things differently. Going back to how Rio plays football, we can't do it like everybody else.
And then I remember I think this is early in the or maybe the first play of this series. Yeah, that's right. The kickoff out of bounds. But I mean, my man Alex Mustaine, he gets in the end zone. This was a fun play. A little different than Nate. Nate just kind of took off, didn't look back. Alex caught the ball, and he's like, wait, who's around me? And just started to take off. Great throw from Armando, too.
You know, it's like those games at pro games or college games. They can't look up on the Jumbotron to see who's around them. You kind of got to look. And so he's worried about someone coming up on him, I guess, and probably was surprised to be that wide open. But a great throw to hit him in stride. And Alex is like, wait, I'm going to score here. And not blazing speed, but decent speed from the big fella.
Well, again, it's the little things, and I love the sell to have good play action. You got to sell the run. He little stutter step, puts his hands out like he's going to make contact with the defender, and then takes it off up the seam. Let's check him out right here at tight end.
Yep. And when you're running the ball, this is what opens up for you.
I'm blocking. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. Okay. Yep.
The best throw of the night from Armando, I thought.
Yeah, great throw, and it comes out quick, in stride. Perfect execution there. A lot of big plays on offense.
Oh my goodness. So many. I mean, I was like, what? You guys scored again on another one? Zip. over the backer. Oh, man coverage. All right, no problem. And then finally, the catch of the game, catch of the year, I think, from my man Calogero, making up for the drop he had earlier in the game. Let's see, where's Calogero? Up here, top of your screen. Great scramble from Armando, and just lays one in there for his guy to make a play.
Yeah, I don't even think Armando saw him catch this because he got hit out of bounds as he threw it. Another key play. Yeah, Armando flings it up there, and for his guy to go get it, and this just shows Calogrero's great hands that we've been talking about. And don't ask me how he stays in bounds, but guys, there, just a great catch. Yeah, that'll be on his highlight film.
Mr. Guerrero standing right there with his sideline cam. He got a great video of this in his highlight film.
Oh, cool.
That in a 90-second clip of the game, the highlights of the game. He had a great shot of this right there. Just a play, man.
Yep, went high, pointed that ball, landed in bounds. Just great body control, great hands. So yeah, that was fun.
And he made a play earlier. You guys don't punt often, but you quick kick and you punt here and there. He made a play. He didn't save it from going in the end zone, but it was the effort and the intelligence to save this ball from going in the end zone. He gave it a nice dive, which I love seeing, and was just ready to keep the punt from going in the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, he's smart enough to know that, but we got on him a little bit because he was not he was not sprinting off the line, and so we kind of, glad you saw that play, but there was a bad part of it too. So freshman, you can't expect them to be perfect all the time.
How many times a game, be honest, are you just like, oh, freshman?
Yeah, well, it was funny. Rain Pollock, I believe, led us in tackles.
Again, 8.5, I think.
Yeah, another freshman, and not always in the right spot, but just great effort plays he's making and running around. But yeah, you're yelling at these guys for alignment, and I think someone on the headset got a kick out of it when Rain was out there and another freshman, Nate Shine, was playing. So I yelled, "Rain, Shine!" And people got a kick out of that. A little alliteration there, Rain and Shine. Rain, Shine, because the right spot. And so, yeah, someone laughed at that over the headset, and I didn't do it intentionally, but yeah.
I see a pregame poster in the future down the road in a couple years. Rain, Shine. I like it.
Forecast for all the offense, rain and shine. Like that. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Nate, big onside kick recovery from that young man at a point in the game when it could have been a big momentum swing. Good hands, jumped on the ball.
Yeah, great athlete and heady play, ready to go. And yeah, love to see those guys make plays.
Absolutely, man. Well, Mark, 5-0 on the season going into week 6, and then you guys get a bye. I know you guys, bumps and bruises, which is to be determined here with in a football season. You're about halfway through. I mean, a lot of ice bags on Thursday night, and it's just part of football. How it's different than any other sport. You get a lot of bumps and bruises.
Yeah, and long week to recover, thankfully. So that extra day with the Thursday game is nice, and just RHP family can know we think everyone's going to be okay, and so hopefully we'll be at full strength Friday night. But we will be smart about how we handle that because we got an opponent we think we can, if we had to rest some guys, we could, but at the same time, we want to stay in good rhythm and get guys touches and keep things moving. So looking forward to it. And then we got the bye week. So ideally we have everyone fresh and everyone ready to go heading into the league. So
this is about the long haul, right? This is about you can have some hiccups along the way, but when you get to that league play, those 3 games are going to be three tough opponents to close out the year, and we're going to need to be at close to full strength because no one's ever at full strength at that time of the season.
Yeah, we're at full strength, and it's the same for everybody. Everyone's got issues, and so with the health of their team, and so we just try to do our best to manage that and have our guys healthy and fresh as much as can be. Yeah, and our medical team does a great job. I don't know how many schools will have 3 MDs and a doctorate of physical therapy on their sideline. So Dr. Walsh, Dr. Steris, Dr. Collins, and of course, Dr. Fairley. They do a great job taking care of our guys, and they all played in the program. And so they understand these guys want to be out there and play. And at the same time, keeping their well-being and safety in mind too, but they understand they want to play.
Yeah, it's we've said it before, but the medical staff. I mean, you got an offensive coordinator who's a certified athletic trainer. I mean, just you guys are taken care of.
Yeah. And then with parents in the stand with medical backgrounds and doctors, it's good too. And so we take care of our guys, and I think that's important for them to know and understand.
Well, can't wait for homecoming, Mark. We'll try to get out there, maybe get some interviews or something with the paint crew on the night before the game, or some little short videos. That'd be fun. It takes, an entire program here to, it's great stuff. The Glendale Nitros, I believe, great team name. We'll see them on Friday night at Care Field, back in black, black jerseys anyway. And then Steve Aman, class of 2000, coming on the program today after Zane. I mean, we got it all today.
Yeah, say hi to Steve, man. I know his boys are playing football up in Oregon, and always love hearing from Steve. And he's a great supporter of our program. And I know he's doing great things with their youth football up there, trying to get it going. So say hi to Steve for us.
Yeah, a proud member of the Northwest fan base of Rio. Bill Ritter, John Lee, Steve Aman, Ryan Horton up at Seattle. I mean, we got some great coverage up there.
Yeah, they're representing well. We got to get those guys some shirts to wear around or something. Next time one of you guys is down here, take shirts for everybody, and we'll spread them out. Yeah, and I hope there are not any Oregon State fans up there. That was a tough one for you guys last night. Great game though. Great game.
Really good game. Fight on indeed. That was a tough game, back and forth. You know what it was, Mark? It was a football game, 17-10 or whatever. I liked it.
Yeah, you don't see that very much anymore. And that was not what everyone was expecting, including myself. But that was fun to watch for us SC fans. Yeah, just a great game.
Back and forth. Love it. Well, Mark, thanks for joining me. Big week ahead. Get through week 6 here and then get a much needed bye to rest up. But thanks for chatting with me today. And I'm looking forward to chatting with Zane and Steve Aman today.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks again, Coach Carson, for joining me on a Sunday episode of the Charge to Keep podcast, breaking down some film, talking about the program, taking us inside the behind the scenes of how everything works and everything. Thank you so much, Coach. A busy man, always spending some time with me as he's on to the next week and preparing and spending time with family as well. So thank you, Coach Carson. Looking forward to chatting with you next week at the homecoming game, before and after the week 6 matchup with Glendale High School, coming to Irwindale and Care Park as the Cares return home finally for first time in about a month here in week 6 against the Glendale Nitros. All right, we are now going to be joined by the president of the Rio Hondo Prep Academy, Zane Fruitwala, the 120th president in school history, recently elected just last week, last Sunday. So we're going to hear about his inauguration, maybe his speech, talk to us about what it's been like going through Rio. I believe he's had some family go through Rio as well. Get to know him a little bit, talk about being the long snapper, kind of a non-glorious position there, right? A thankless position, but a very important one indeed. And learn a little bit about the senior class. What's Ryan McCullough, Anthony Hernandez, Cody Nelson? What are they like behind the scenes? You know what I mean? So let's see if we can get some info out of Zane Fruitwala, the 120th president in Rio Hondo Prep's history. I'm looking forward to this. Zane, just a good guy. We got to chat with him a little bit in the summer. That was a blast. But now to be able to have kind of a one-on-one 15-minute or so interview with him is something I think a lot of fans will enjoy. Let's bring him on the program. Everyone rise, everyone stand up. We are joined now by the president of the Rio Hondo Prep Academy, Zane Fruitwala. Okay, we have a special guest today, the 120th president in Rio Hondo Prep's history, recently inaugurated just last week on Sunday. Zane Fruitwala, excuse me, Mr. President Fruitwala. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, Zane. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. It's been fun talking to different guys on the team throughout the year, and I think today's going to be a lot of fun as well. Do you get to listen to your teammates when they come on here?
I do, but it's been a bit busy lately, so it's hard to get time, but I listened to Ryan's a while back, so
Cool. Well, we talked in the summer, Zane. I talked to you and the other seniors on the team briefly on Instagram, Facebook and stuff, just talking about your excitement for the season. We're about halfway through the season now. I mean, what are your thoughts so far on how the team has done and your experience?
I think we've done a lot better than expected, especially with a lot of underclassmen. I didn't think we'd do as well as we did, but it's cool to see all of them contributing and making plays and all that.
Now, Zane, you didn't play a whole lot of football, before Rio and the past few years. But now that it's been your senior year, I mean, did you feel was there any encouragement from maybe your classmates or teammates to be like, hey man, come out here, let's do this? I know Cody Nelson's similar, right? He didn't play much football either.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of uh, ah, can you redo that?
Oh, it's all good. You're good, man.
Uh,
Take your time.
yeah. All right. Yeah, there's a little bit of like pressure sort of to senior year to get out there and play, but I'm not like the biggest guy, most athletic, so I found my niche like being the long snapper, snapping for punts and field goals. So that's helped me out, especially senior season motivation to go out and work and contribute to my team off on the field.
Well, there's many ways to contribute, and Zane being a long snapper is no small task. I mean, every time you touch the ball, we're trying to put points on the board with an extra point or a field goal, and then when you snap on punts, I mean, it's a big change in field position. So it's a very thankless position, a position that kind of goes unnoticed, but it's rather important. How did you come about becoming the long snapper?
It was freshman year on JV, and we needed a stepper. And like I just tried it, and it worked for field goals, and we did that. And then Mr. Clevenger's in and out also pushed me a little bit. So, and then a junior year, I did it a little bit up till the Charter Oak game, and then now I'm doing it full time.
Yeah, Mr. Clevenger, he buys the center, the holder, and the kicker in and out for lunch every week. If you guys are perfect, not pretty good, you got to be perfect. So it all starts with you. How many times have you guys had in and out this year?
Well, I've been doing it for 2 games. The first game we went perfect, and the last game we messed up a little bit. I had some bad snaps, a few bad kicks, and we're not getting it this week. But this week we'll work on it, and hopefully next week we'll get it.
That's a position that requires a lot of outside of practice time. You got your 2-hour practice or whatever, and then every day
Yeah.
that's a position that requires staying after, putting in another 30 minutes or so, right? So you guys stay pretty much after every practice.
Yeah, if some person has to leave, we get like 10 snaps in, but if not, we'll work on it after practice.
Now, Zane, talk to me about your senior class. Cody, Anthony, Ryan, a rather small group of guys. How close are you guys? We know how great Ryan is, but when you guys are in the classroom or just doing whatever, is Ryan just one of the guys? Are you guys all really really close?
Yeah, we're all really close. We don't have I don't have a lot of classes with them, but when we are together, like in psych or AP GoPo, it's pretty cool. We're all together, just talking, messing around when we need to, but we also pay attention because that's important.
Of course, yes, of course. The great scholars of Rio Hondo Prep. Zane, you're a senior now. Time really does fly, and I mean, when you started high school a few years ago, could you ever imagine that time would go by as fast as it? Can you believe you're a senior?
No, not really. Everyone says it goes super fast, everything flies by, but I don't really like believe them. But now I realize that I made a mistake. I should have believed them.
Yeah, speaking from experience, time goes by and you guys need to enjoy every moment. Let's talk, Zane, about the inauguration last week. For those that don't know, at inaugurals, unless it's changed, usually the chief or vice president, whatever he's called now, gives you a challenge to the president, and then the president gives his speech, challenge to the academy. What were some of your messages to the high school now that you're taking the reins as the president? What was kind of the theme of your speech last week? Take us through it.
So I based my speech off the theme of the inaugural, which was anchored in Christ. So I challenged the academy to have the qualities of anchor. An anchor is something that like goes down in the nastiest of waters and does its job when all the pressure's on. So I challenged the academy to have those same qualities.
Wow, that's impressive. That is a very good theme that most of us can take wherever we go. Do you get nervous? Are you a guy that gets nervous talking in front of a lot of people? I knew when I had to give speeches, I was always terrified. Was it a little scary last week, or did you think, this is no big deal?
At first, I was like, I'm not going to be ready no matter what, so there's no point in being nervous. But once I got up there, I got a little sweaty, but after that, it was fine.
Very cool. And then so is there it's a vice president now, not a chief justice, or is that how it works now?
Yeah, it was a vice president. My vice president is Colby Johnson, but it was Elle that gave the challenge to the academy or challenge to the president because she was the runner-up.
Oh, okay. So that's how it works. The runner-up
Yeah.
in the election there gives the challenge to the president. Very cool. I've heard from some sources that Colby, your vice president, lives about 3 houses away from you guys, and you guys are pretty close, both your families.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes I sent food down there if he has some extras, and he loves it. So
That's what I heard. They're the Fruitwala family has usually some nice food gatherings, and they always pass out the food to the Johnson home down the road.
yeah.
Well, speaking of food, Zane, I've heard from Coach Carson that all the families do a team dinner, and I've heard that you guys have a team dinner. You guys are rather a team favorite. Talk me through the menu that usually goes on there. Have you guys done team dinner yet this year?
Yeah, we did it last year and this year. Last year it was like salad, fruit, and then chicken thighs, like some Indian spice type chicken, and then it was some rice and curry. And then this year we had salad, rice and curry, and then chicken wings, and then there's some fruit and all of that.
Nice. All homemade Indian
Yeah,
food, right?
homemade. Yeah.
That is awesome. Bill curry, not too spicy. I don't do spices that well, man. Is it not too spicy for the boys or extra spicy?
We said if they can't handle it, then they won't eat, but it wasn't too spicy.
Good stuff, man. It seems like again, the high school, I don't know how all the ins and outs, but it seems like from what I see from the football players anyway, that everyone is very tight knit. Everyone just loves each other and loves being around each other. What are your thoughts on being at a small high school like Rio Hondo Prep? Because so many people are like, oh, it's a small school, but it is rather unique, isn't it? Having kind of a smaller student body.
Yeah, it helps with Mr. Carson's also BTD brotherhood. And I think at the smaller school, it's easier to get to know everyone, especially on the team. It's only like 30 guys and you have classes with them and all that. So it's easy to get to know them. And I've seen like videos of huge student sections and huge teams. It doesn't really seem fun to me because there's so many people, you can't even get to know all of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's you do get to know everybody. The seniors know, I'm sure most of the freshmen by name, and then you guys have a lot of freshman teammates on the football team this year. Most of them are playing, and so that's rather unique too, right? Knowing these guys that are kind of going through this common goal with you guys.
Yeah, it's cool to see all of them contribute, even when it seems like they're not going to really do anything, but they have starting positions like Noah, Elijah. They're contributing both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. And Zane, being elected president to me means that you have earned the respect of not just your teammates, but your peers, the entire school. So you're a guy, from what I've heard, that carries yourself well. You represent Rio Hondo well. I mean, what does it mean to you to be, when you found out you were going to be elected president, you obviously running, so you wanted to do it. But what did it mean when, the votes were tallied and you knew you were going to be the new president of Rio Hondo?
It meant a lot. Like people believed in me to actually be able to lead them and make this year really enjoyable. So I'm glad that people voted for me and believe that I can make this year a lot better for them.
Well, Zane, what about after high school? The June graduation is coming rather quickly. You guys got a lot to enjoy first, but it is your senior year. What are kind of some plans for after high school? Maybe some colleges or different career ideas you had going forward?
So I'm planning on doing computer science at USC. And if somehow I don't get in, then I'll hit PCC and then transfer out if possible.
Nice. Sounds like a good. What do you want to do with computer science? Anything specific, or just kind of start there and go from there?
I think I start there, and wherever it takes me, I'll go. I don't really know about it too much, but I'll do some research.
Cool, man. Well, I heard that you come from kind of a strong USC family, right? Your mom works there, and your sister graduated from Rio, what, just last year, and she's at USC now. So you guys are a fight on household.
Yeah, of course, fight on everything.
I was down there last week for the Fresno State game, walking around campus. Like, man, every time I'm down here, stuff is brand new. What does your mom do for the campus?
She works at Keck in like the education department. She teaches some classes and manages. Yeah.
Wow. So when you bring the homework home, Zane, you're not going to get any sympathy from mom or dad as far as studying, huh?
No, study first.
And what was your sister's name? She graduated last year?
Zoya. She graduated 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I'm scared. Oh, 2021. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So did that help kind of your Rio experience, having an older sister to kind of show you the ropes or go through things first?
It made me like be more well behaved because if she's there, I have to like be on my best behavior.
That is good stuff. Zane, we see photos of the senior guys there. You guys got honored before, I think the second game of the year, you, Ryan, Anthony, and Cody on the field. And again, being guys that didn't play much football before, now getting to experience all this. Are you soaking it all in and just enjoying every snap literally along the way?
Yeah, it's really overwhelming a bit because seeing all of it happening so fast, but it's a great experience.
Definitely. And you guys, like you said, you're a little busy, but you guys tune into the podcast and hear different guys. It's fun to see all the different guys involved.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, President Zain Fruitwala, I really appreciate you coming on here. Any major goals or things going forward as far as you're in charge of the high school, man, or at least you represent the student body. I mean, is that a pressure at all? I mean, any thoughts going forward?
Yeah, it's a little bit of pressure, but I think if I get a lot of events going, then it'll relieve that a bit. I want to do powder puff soon, and hopefully that will go through.
So you have to go to the administration and kind of let them know things you want to do. How does it all work?
I think I'm going to meet with Ms. Rixa soon and just try to go over everything that we want to do this year, and we'll go from there.
Zane, what about, real quick, just your teachers and the school staff at Rio Hondo? If you could take me through why maybe your experience at Rio has been so good with, the teachers and the administration. It's a lot of people who went through the school themselves. And do you guys feel just kind of, I don't know, love and support from everyone? And obviously that you're getting the most out of your academic experience as well?
Yeah, you can definitely tell all the teachers are there because they want to help us, serve us, and also teach us. So it's great having all of them. I have like all their personal numbers and everything. I can text them whenever I need anything.
Gotcha. And in closing, what's your favorite class, and maybe what's a class that you dread, or is it kind of you like everything?
Favorite class, probably GoPo, because it's fun, but Miss Shelton's cool. But least favorite class right now is probably AP English with Mrs. Horton. She's a good teacher, but I don't like literature at all. So
I'm with you, man. Yeah, GoPro, government and politics, I believe. Anthony said he liked that class too. So because taking AP classes, look at you, man. Just it's going to be, especially literature, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. I got 4 of those this year.
4 AP classes right now?
Yeah.
Oh man, now I'm really thankful you set aside time to talk with me, man. You got homework to do and all kinds of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Zane, Mr. President, thank you for joining us today, and good luck the rest of the football season, the rest of the school year in leading the school, and then next year, maybe next fall at USC or wherever you end up, man. Best of luck to you.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Talk to you soon, Zane.
All right. See you.
Senior President Zane Fruitwala coming on the podcast today, talking about his new administration, his new inauguration, we'll say, and just talking about his Rio experience. Just another great young man from the class of 2023. I've talked with all kinds of different players on the team and guys that are from all different age groups, but it's fun to talk with seniors because you can see the end is near, right? You can see like, oh man, graduation, then what next? You got to let go of this fun Rio Hondo thing. And then it's on to other things, in life that hopefully are as fun as your time at Rio Hondo. At least for guys like me, that's what it was like. It's like, what do I do now? I don't want to stop playing ball with my friends. This is no. Anyway, congrats to Zane Furwala, the 120th president of the Rio Hondo Prep Academy. The high school student body is in wonderful hands, and it really shows the respect his peers have for him. A guy that just carries himself the right way and is a great representation of Rio Hondo Prep. So congrats, Zane, and looking forward to seeing you down the road at a game and just hearing great things from you. And good luck on your presidency here in 2022. We are now going to be joined by a member of the alumni, like we've been having the past couple of weeks. Coach Carson, a player, and then a member of the alumni, just to kind of piece it all together and show that, hey, we care about the alumni. I want to know what they're doing, how they're watching these games from afar. And today we're going to be joined by Steve Aman, who's up in Oregon, specifically the Eugene area, and somebody that loves Rio Hondo football, especially from afar. He watches every night. You'll hear all about it. He's even watching on his phone while he's at his son's games. I mean, he's a guy that cares about Rio Hondo and was a hard-nosed player. He was a guy that could run the ball, could play defense, did it all, was a great leader, and was very successful himself on the Rio Hondo Prep field many years ago. He's a proud member of our Oregon fan force, whatever you want to call them. John Lee, Bill Ritter, other alumni who live up in Oregon, and Steve Aman. Always a privilege to talk to. So I chatted with him a few days ago. Let's bring him on the program now, my conversation with him anyway. And I think this is one you guys will enjoy. From the class of 2000, Steve Aman. Okay, I'm now joined by Steve Aman from the class of 2000, a two-time CIF champion, and he's joining us from up in Oregon. Looks like some kind of bomb shelter or something up there, Steve.
Yeah, working currently at Willamette University for the company I work for, so in the mechanical space.
Okay, just taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with the Charge to Keep podcast, huh?
Yep, wouldn't have it any other way, man. I love the show.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all your kind words. You're somebody that follows us from afar, not just on the podcast, but you also find time to check out the current team on the NFHS network.
That's right. Yep, I do. I love the Rio Hondo football program. I love that it's starting to get notoriety and recognition. The San Gabriel Valley. In fact, I just saw Rio Hondo Prep, and you shared that they hit the top 10, I think, for San Gabriel Valley this week, which is awesome. But yeah, Friday nights, I'm usually at my son's football game. He plays up here in Oregon, Cottage Grove High School. He's swinging both ways, JV and varsity as a sophomore. But unfortunately, the varsity team this year isn't very solid. The JV squad is really good. They're going to have a good shot the next couple of years. But anyhow, I usually on my phone have the game going on NFHS as I'm watching the varsity game up here. So, but tonight I'll be able to watch. Oh, actually, I'm coaching, so I might have to watch it later.
It's all good. That's the beauty of it. You can watch it on demand. But yeah, Steve, what a loyal fan you are, watching your sons play and then watching on your phone during the game. That's awesome, man. So how your oldest is a sophomore, and then how are the other boys doing, the Almond boys?
Yeah, oldest is a sophomore, and then I got a 7-year-old, 10-year-old, and 11-year-old. 3 out of 4 of them are playing football. The 6th grader decided this year that he wasn't going to play. I'm hoping he'll get back on the field next year. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I coach my 5th grader, and they're doing fantastic this year. They got a really good team. And my oldest son, I coached his team from like 1st grade all the way through 8th grade. And so watching them out on the field this year, some of the sophomores are playing full-time varsity, some are swinging. Really talented group. It's fun to watch them grow up. It reminds me of the Care Youth League days, watching the kids from a young age go all the way up into high school. But yeah, then my 7-year-old, he's playing as well. He's a tiny little dude, but he's mighty. So it's fun.
I love some of the Instagram stuff you put out about your family, about the kids playing ball. It's fantastic. And I mean, I think it's safe to say that the Almond family has been, currently is, and will always be a football family.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but me and my wife are co-presidents for our football league in Cottage Grove. And we have 5 teams. It's K through 5th grade. This year we got 77 kids signed up to play. And this is like our 4th year running the program, but we play in Willamette Valley. It used to be Pop Warner, now it's Willamette Valley Youth Football. So one of the schools we play is Sheldon, for instance. That's where Justin Herbert grew up playing. There's a couple of kids playing for the Ducks that were in the program. So it's pretty cool, to do that, to give back for, all the hours that all the volunteers down at Care Youth League and Rio Hondo Prep gave up coaching. A lot of those similar coaching styles and, a lot of the ways they ran the program and currently run it. I try to model it after that. And I'm glad and proud to say that, we've grown the program and starting to be reputable and starting to get some wins on the field. And it's good times. And the board that I have, there's about 12 of us. I couldn't ask for better parents that volunteer their time to help with running things and coaching and putting in all the extra time. But yeah, like I said, it's cool to see the alignment with my upbringing down there, bringing it up here. So I'm very thankful for that.
That sounds great, man. Doing great work, helping kids out, giving them some education there in the great game of football. I love it. Absolutely love it. When football's kind of, falling off the wayside in other communities, it sounds like you guys are taking it to the next level. And yeah, you and I communicate a lot as far as, watching the team from the NFHS network. And I mean, you've probably seen the team a few times now in a few games. What do you make of the current Rio Hondo team?
Going into the season with being mostly freshmen and sophomores, I think everyone kind of had their big question mark and cloud above their head, questioning how strong the team was going to be. But man, those little guys, I mean, obviously you got McCullough, Carbajal, is that how you pronounce his last name, the QB? But yeah, they've really stepped up as leaders on the field and showing their dominance. But you can't do it. You got one link in the chain that breaks and the whole team breaks. But those freshmen and sophomores that are out there stepping up, you could tell David Joe, his donation and whatever else for that weight room is starting to really show out on the field. So that's really cool. It's really fun to watch and hearing about, what was it, against El Monte, when they're walking on the field and they're laughing because you got this private school, 100 kids, plus or minus, boys and girls, walking onto the field thinking that, this big public school is going to sweep them off the floor and they go in there and just dominate. And the coaching staff, I love hearing all the names, guys that, a couple ex-Gators, Glendale Gators on the coaching staff, I believe. Corsini, I think he's head coach for JV, I heard the other day. That's pretty cool. And Mark, he's always been an open book. Any questions I have, he's text back right away. I'm able to get on the Huddle app and watch play-by-plays. But yeah, that varsity team, I love it. I can't wait to see the game tonight. And I know towards the end of the season, that's our league games. And Campbell Hall, Brentwood, can't remember the other one, but those are going to be the tough matchups, obviously. So, but I think their schedule plays in well with getting prepared for those big games, and I hope they do well and move on to the playoffs.
Yeah, for me, it's really cool when you see great Rio teams, dominating and just taking it to teams. But there's something to be said, Steve, for the Rio Hondo name, the Rio Hondo brand that overachieves. High expectations all the time, but it seems like anytime you count Rio Hondo out, they step up. They step up to the challenge. It's kind of been that way year in and year out.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, with what they have to work with and what the coaching staff is doing there, and just believing in the program that they have in place. It seems like every single player out on that field is giving it their all on and off the field, and that really is the difference. They believe in something and they're going out there and proving it.
Well, Steve, you were kind of at the end of a great era at Rio football, the 8-man times. You guys are dominating, winning championships left and right. Could you have all you guys wanted to play 11-man, I got to imagine, and we finally got to take that leap in 2002. But could you have envisioned or foreseen Rio being as successful as they've been now for 20 years of 11-man football, 4 championships, a few runners up as well? I mean, were you guys always in that 8-man era kind of thinking, man, it would be awesome if we could play 11-man, because I think we could compete with all these schools?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we did pretty well my sophomore, junior year, senior year, made it to semis. But, we actually did play a couple 11-man games against, I don't remember who we played, but we won those games that we played in dominant fashion. And it was fun, bigger field to run. we still we didn't have the offense they're running now. We were kind of just scabbed together like an 8-man offense, and we're running sweeps, power 31s, however you called it, an 11-man. But anyhow, yeah, it was fun. But in my mind, growing up in the San Dimas, Glendora, Alta Loma areas, I'd go to the park locally and play with kids, and I felt like I competed pretty well against them, and they're like, oh, what school do you go to? Oh, Rio Hondo Prep. What school is that? How many kids go there? And it was always just, I think a lot of guys from my era, it was like, oh, the big public schools, they're way stronger, way faster. We wouldn't stand a chance against them. But it's so cool to see the last 20 years, Rio Hondo Prep going into those divisions. And then, last year, obviously that Charter Oak win was just, put the staple in it. Like, all right, Rio Hondo Prep is a valid school. They are a valid football program. And that team that won that game last year, man, like, hats off to them. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really something. And I think there were doubters, late there in the 90s and 2000s, like, can we really go to 8-man or 11-man and compete? And I think we have more than proven it. And especially the past few years, going to the next level, beating a charter. This wasn't just a local public school. This was one of the top programs in all of San Gabriel Valley last year in Charter Oak. They were the gold standard for everyone in the area. For Rio to beat them in a playoff game spoke for so many guys from the past who just would have loved to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm not overlooking all the teams before that, early mid 2000s when they jumped into 11-man, like, you're learning not a whole new game, but you're going to a bigger field, and you got 3 more men on the field. So, they proved themselves along the way. And then last week against Poly, man, that was awesome. Just complete dominance. It's always good to get that win against the Orange.
Well, I saw, I shared your story from your freshman year, whatever it was, about the Poly, your first interaction with Poly. And I don't know, maybe a little fuel to the fire there, Steve. That was an outstanding story. A lot of people liked it.
Oh, right on. Yeah. Good. Painful memories at the same time, but yeah, that was good times. And man, that team, that freshman year, our sophomores, Jay Ramos, Perry, Sergio, Jacob Blake, I just remember, even from freshman to sophomore year, the size difference, and when you're growing, I didn't really grow until like mid sophomore year, until I got any kind of size at all, which I never got big or anything. But those guys that they brought out for Poly, they were 6 foot plus, and average 240 at least. Seemed like that's what I remember. Of course, your memory always kind of changes a little bit, but who knows?
Well, hey, Steve, 25 years later, the Cares avenged you on Friday night, taking care of the Poly Panthers. Steve, you're a huge fan of the podcast. You're always giving me great feedback and such. Who are some names, maybe from the past, some of the alumni that you'd like to hear on the podcast? A few featured guests for a few minutes or so.
Well, those guys I just mentioned, like the class above me, you kind of look above you at the classes above. So yeah, definitely Jacob Blake, which I think you might have something in the works with that. Mm-hmm. Sergio Villalobos, he was our quarterback. He also played middle linebacker. That guy, he doesn't get a lot of talk about, but man, he did it all, right? He could throw the ball on a dime. He could run the ball, run somebody over if he needed to. He's playing linebacker, taking care of business. And then he was our kicker, that's another way that Rio Hondo Prep works. And he can kick the ball through the field goal post from midfield, like he was amazing. And then on top of that, obviously, a heck of a baseball player, like one of the nastiest pitchers I've ever seen. But yeah, Perry Hampton, another guy, like, he doesn't get a whole lot of talk, but man, he was tough as nails on the football field. Obviously, baseball, another heck of a pitcher. Jay Ramos, I think you've had him on the podcast. But
yeah, we'll get him on the Charge to Keep pod to get a little update and hear from him. It's always great hearing from the Ramos family.
Yeah. What about Ryan Press? You had that guy on yet?
No, he'd be outstanding. He made my rather controversial list of top football players in Rio history. So we got to bring him on. What'd you think of that podcast, by the way?
It was great, man. Yeah, absolutely love that one. That was amazing. Paul Clark, and every time he's on, he makes me laugh. And you two together are great. But yeah, Press, man, he was a year younger than me, but just an absolute beast in any sport. And then I don't think it's been mentioned before, but he ended up playing at APU, I think as a punter. So it'd be kind of cool to hear from his APU days as well.
Yeah, it's so cool seeing guys play at the next level. And I know you played some college baseball, as respectfully. And it's just, I don't know, the Rio. This is why I love talking to the alumni. It's great talking about the current team, but I want this to bring everybody together, see where they've been, where they're going, and just kind of see all the similarities we still have from going through the program. What do you think Rio does for its alumni? Be it playing football, speaking for all of its alumni, what do you think Rio Hondo football, I don't know, if you had to sum it up, when you say a Rio Hondo alumni, what do you think the comparison is, or what the picture is?
No, big picture in my mind, I mean, myself and a lot of guys that I could see in the same boat, it just, like you get out of high school and you get thrown out in this big world that you're not accustomed to, right? We all have our ups and downs, of course, right? But when it comes down to it, when you take the field, you're always going up against a bigger opponent, right? And it makes you tough. Football, it kind of goes hand in hand with parallel to like the summer trips, right? Like 8 weeks, one call home. This is before cell phones and all that. Like it puts you into a mindset that, you can take on anything if you put your mind to it and if you're tough enough, so it kind of gives you that toughness. It could be in any facet. Like, for instance, I was in a meeting 10 minutes ago with a bunch of bigwigs from the company and guys I haven't met before, but I've seen their name on emails. And it's like, there's always a little bit of anxiety going into it, right? But you just have to swallow it and move on with it and improve what you got to do and finish it out. Just keep moving forward. And that's kind of the Rio Hondo Prep football way. Yeah.
And kind of tying into that, as far as why Rio Hondo football is special to you. You've been out of school 22 years now. Yeah, you watch on Friday nights from up in Oregon on your phone while your kids are playing. I mean, why do you, quote, no pun intended, why do you care so much about your alma mater when it's so far away and you haven't been affiliated? But Steve, that alumni spirit never dies, really. So, but what is it for you? What if a stranger walked by you and be like, "Why are you watching this?" What would you say why it's so important to you?
Some people would probably call it a problem, right? Like, still trying to live out the Al Bundy days, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think obviously we all have a connection because the coaching staff, for one. The guys. I coached Tigers when I was in high school. Mark was kind of my mentor while coaching football and baseball, basketball, the sports that we did. So it's really cool to see what he's done. I think, man, that guy is a commodity. Like, I hope he doesn't get swooped up by some big high school. That's what's in the back of my mind. Mark, you better not go anywhere. But anyhow, you still have that connection, and I guess it's just a pride, like watching those kids take the field. It brings you back to your youth days, and it's something to be proud of, that you're part of that at one time, and you always have that connection, being that you were at that spot at one point in life. And even my high school kid Trent, now that he's playing high school football, he's a huge, you would love the kid. Like, he knows every stat of every college team, NFL team. When he was like 7 years old, we had those, like, the markers you could write on the tub, on the shower wall, and he would have the AP top 25 in college football, like when he was like 7-8 years old, right? So he actually follows Rio Hondo Prep football. He's never even been down to Arcadia or Cary Youth League or seen it all, but just the stories and knowing that I follow it. He'll text me or be on the trip home from losing a game up here and be like, "Man, Rio Hondo did good tonight. You see that, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome, huh?" So it carries over, to say the least.
Oh man, what a way to wrap this interview up. That's incredible. Yeah. Hey, Trent, he could be an honorary alum, no problem. And once upon a time, yeah, your dad Steve was running around 5150 Farna Avenue doing all kinds of stuff, multiply in football and baseball. Best of times, man. Best of times. Hey, before I let you go, you and your brother-in-law John Lee, Bill Ritter up in Portland, you guys are kind of holding down this Oregon fan base, if you will, a little Oregon booster club here for Rio Hondo Prep.
Yep, you got it. And I just saw your podcast the other day with one of the Horton kids up in Washington, I guess, working at a high school as a physical trainer, right?
Yeah, Ryan Horton. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I remember when he was born, just a little dude. It's so funny. And like, listen to podcasts or NFHS network, and Bollinger, Greg Bollinger's kid. His dad was my coach, and that's the kind of stuff I tell my kids and my wife. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy talking here. His dad was my coach before he was even thought of. But yeah, we're holding down the Northwest up here, and I'm hoping that me and John can get together, and we like to watch these Friday night games whenever we get a chance to watch them together. But yeah, we got you back up in the Northwest.
That's right. Well, Steve, more continued success to you, the Almond family, and I appreciate you tuning into the pod. Your feedback, you're welcome back anytime, and yeah, continue to hold it down up there in the Northwest, brother.
All right, thanks to you too, man. I know I speak for a lot of people, but love your show, and it helps to stay connected with the football program and everything else going on. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks so much, Steve. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right, man. Later.
Sorry, had it on mute there for a second, but there you go, Steve Aman, a great football alumni from Rio Hondo Prep, just a football dad now, just coaching his kids, running the show up there in Oregon. Pretty awesome stuff. A proud member of our Oregon Alumni Force, man. Him and his brother-in-law, John Lee, Bill Ritter, Ryan Horton up there in the Seattle area, holding down the Northwest. We need some shirts made, maybe RH NW or something. I don't know. We'll come up with something. Put it together, guys. See what you guys can come up with. Speaking of that alumni force, we're going to be joined on Thursday by Steve's brother-in-law, John Lee, from the class of 1992. He's up there in Oregon as well. Already recorded with him, so he'll be coming on the program for our pregame preview show for this Thursday for Week 6 and the homecoming game. Thought we'd go back a little further back, not to call you old, John, not at all, just to bring on someone a little older than the guys we've been having on, and coming on right after Steve Aman seems very fitting. So John Lee this Thursday night, again, the pregame show airs 24 hours before kickoff, with the Friday night game at 7. The episode will be available on Thursday night at 7. And keep an eye on social media. I might head down and see what the paint crew is doing on Thursday night. Take some videos there if I have time. See, I know they'll be working hard for an awesome field paint job, which they do for every homecoming game. And it'll be first class. I can promise you that. It's been a fun show today. Our week 5 recap. It is time flying by for you guys like it is for me. I felt like we just started this thing in June, doing a few episodes a month. And now here we are doing weekly recaps, doing a preview show the night before the game. Just a lot going on here on the Charge to Keep podcast. And for those of you that are, when you identify the podcast, you can call it, the podcast is called A Charge to Keep, the first phrase, the title of our alma mater, right? But you can also call it the Charge to Keep podcast. However it flows off your tongue, works for me. But just so many great things to talk to the players. President Zain Fruitwala, what a guy he is. Just earning the respect of his peers, from a tremendous family as well. I talked to Elijah Gavia on Thursday after the game. He was great. Armando Carbajal, the class act he is, and unbelievable player. This team is full of stories, full of characters, and I want you guys to get to know all of them. That's the goal. I'm bringing on multiple guys, throughout the week, talking to guys after the game, talking to guys on Sundays. I want you guys to learn more and more about this team in going forward. So for everyone who is supporting not just this podcast, but the Rio program, if you're paying money every week to watch these guys on the NFHS network from afar, I can assure you it's worth it. It's been so much fun. You're getting first class production from the NFHS guys running our broadcast and doing the podcast here. We're just getting started, as Coach Carson always says. We're going to take this thing to the next level. I can promise you that. Rio Hondo is 5-0, headed home, finally coming home, back in black finally, and get to play the Glendale Nitros. We'll have a preview of that game again Thursday night for you, and a fun interview with another member of the alumni, just to get everyone involved. I want alumni to step out, check out the game, support this team, just like they were supported many years ago. You know what's better than 5-0 is 6-0, as Elijah Gavia told me on Thursday night after our game. Let's go. It's going to be a challenge. Glendale, big public school coming in. It's homecoming. I hope to see everybody there. We'll talk about that on the Thursday pregame show. But if you can't make it out, of course, you know where to find Rio Hondo Prep content here on this podcast, but also the NFHS network. Don't miss a snap. Don't miss any of the action as those guys continue to do a great job. Thanks, head coach Mark Carson. Thanks, President Zain Fruitwala. And thanks, Steve Aman from the class of 2000 for making this podcast today one of the best ones so far. Onward and upward to bigger and better things. Can't wait for more Rio Hondo Prep action. We'll take a break here during their bye week, but for now, it's on to week 6 and the Glendale Nitros. Can't wait, guys. But as always, your friendly reminder to always be humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare, a strict account to give.